Satan's darkness. Satan's darkness. Now, this is truly a spiritual message, and yeah, man. I mean, Satan truly has darkness, and this is really very much different from just like ordinary darkness, I would say. Even though Satan does play a role in ordinary darkness, Satan's darkness is much, much more just like, excuse me. I mean, Satan's darkness is just so much more, I want to say effective, and so much more, I just want to say like much more darker in a way too than just ordinary darkness. And I can explain these things by the Spirit of God. I mean, see, ordinary darkness is just like, okay, yeah, Satan may be in the background of things, but overall it's just dealing with like, I would say deception and just, being blinded to the truth and all this stuff. That's just ordinary darkness. But then see, Satan's darkness, this stuff is a lot more deeper, because me just getting more into depth about this as I'm being led by the Spirit. Satan's darkness is just truly going to have you consumed. That's the thing. Ordinary darkness is like, okay, you can come out of that, with God, of course. But see, Satan's darkness, no, it's not. See, you're not coming out of that. Just you're not just really coming out of that. I'm being very real, because see, Satan's darkness is like, it's consisting of his demons, his fallen beings, and all these other spirits working with him, being very real. And see, Satan's darkness, as I'm being led by the Spirit, it does talk about how he is the prince of the air. So Satan's darkness is also dealing with like just unanswered prayers, coming against God's people and God's people's prayer life, and just prayers overall. Like, yeah, he's truly against that stuff, is what you people don't be understanding about Satan. And this is a part of his darkness too, is, having unanswered prayers, and keeping prayers unanswered and all that stuff. And, so I'm getting more into depth about Satan's darkness. I mean, it's really dealing with like, it's definitely dealing with his people. It's dealing with demons. It's dealing with, I want to say his creatures too, as I've mentioned before. He is dealing with his creatures. And it's dealing with like, just like Satan's darkness is truly just dealing with like an all-time high of deception, if I'm being real. Like this darkness, Satan's darkness is very much more deceptive, and just you're not coming out of, if I'm being real. Because this is not ordinary darkness. Satan's darkness is truly, truly designed to consume you. That's the difference. It's not only like I said, it's not like ordinary darkness where it's like, Satan's in the background of things, and you can just like come out with God and all that stuff. No, Satan's darkness is more or less like it consumes certain souls and beings, I want to say, and certain individuals even as well. And Satan's darkness, there is no more or less, there's no coming out of this, if I'm being real. That's the thing about Satan's darkness. It's at a very high level of not only deception, but consuming you. And yeah, I'm just gonna be very real. I mean, this stuff is very deep, because Satan's darkness is just no joke. I'm being very real. And Satan's darkness is attached to his people as well. It is his peoples who have truly sold out to him and carry out his will. And this has nothing to do with, all this other stuff you people be thinking about. This has to do with like Satan's people. This can be ordinary people too, is what you got to realize. This has nothing to do with all this stuff you people get caught up with, as far as the selling out stuff. There's so many levels of that too. But anyhow, yeah, this has to deal with like his high ranked followers too, people who work for him and they have sold out to him. They truly have rejected God. and they don't want anything to do with God. They have sold out to Satan for high power. This has to do with Satan's darkness too. It has to deal with it has to deal with too the principalities and the powers of the air. And see, what you gotta understand is that Satan is the prince of the air. I keep telling you certain people, this stuff. So yeah, I mean, Satan's darkness is truly just not a game, because a lot of certain beings are consumed by this, and a lot of people have sold out to Satan's darkness too. And the people who have sold out to it, they're done. I'm being very real. They're done. There is no coming back for a lot of these individuals. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And yeah, Satan's darkness is truly dealing with, once again, the principalities and the powers of the air that are coming against God's people, more or less. Everybody else it's coming against, I mean, these people are outside of God. They don't really love God. They don't have God, and they have no interest in God, and God has no interest in them. And that's the type of thing like that I'm talking about, that these people who are dealing with that, the principalities, because we all somewhat are dealing with the principalities, the powers of the air. But see, the thing is that God's people, God does enlighten us, strengthens us, and he moves on our behalf. But these other people, these other individuals and beings, I mean, man, no, it's not the same with them. And see, they are a part of Satan's darkness concerning that too, as far as the principalities and the powers of the air. I just had to get more in depth about that. And I mean, yeah, man, I'm trying to just see, as I'm being led by the Spirit, like, yeah, Satan's darkness is truly dealing with a lot of stuff, man. A lot of dark stuff, man, that people are just not coming back from. And that's the thing about Satan's darkness. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I want to just say too, as I'm being led by the Spirit, very, very few will truly come out of Satan's darkness. But overall, Satan's darkness just consumes many individuals, beings, and just the earth realm in general, because I keep telling you as well, these certain individuals, that Satan is the god of this world. So you got to understand that what that truly means is that he overall governs this first heaven, and God has given him certain limited power to do things. But God, the God of Israel, is overall the God of heaven and earth. So overall, God does truly have all the power, the God of Israel. But what you got to realize too is that Satan is still in contact, I want to say, with God, and still has certain access to heaven. And also Satan does have his kingdom and all this stuff, So you got to realize that God is allowing Satan to do a lot of certain particular things concerning his kingdom and concerning the earth realm too, because Satan is the god of this world. And as I mentioned before as well, Satan has blinded the minds of them that believe not. And what that truly means is the people who, and individuals and beings that believe, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in God's truth. They don't believe in the things of the Spirit of God and all that stuff. And just God overall. Satan has pretty much blinded their minds and overtaken them and these certain particular individuals' souls too. And yeah, I mean, this applies to who it applies to. That's all I can really say concerning this stuff. But yeah, Satan's darkness is truly just a high level of him, is what you gotta understand. High level of his principalities and powers of darkness is what I'm saying. It's dealing with like him just having you a part of his darkness too, rather just be his people, rather just be, once again, unanswered prayers for you people who are more or less of God, but your prayers are not being answered. All this deep stuff is the part of Satan's darkness. I'm being very real. And I mean, man, yeah, it's deep. And I already know all about this stuff, humbly speaking. But yeah, Satan's darkness is this stuff is not a game or a joke or anything, because his darkness will be overtaking many souls, many beings, and many people. And Satan's darkness overall is just going to consume a lot more individuals, whether you believe this or not. And overall, just the earth realm too. Satan's darkness is not going to be removed until the God of Israel fully just deals with this matter. And overall, when Satan gets bound to the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. But even then, like, he still will be released again. That's what you gotta understand. So Satan's darkness concerning this earth realm, honestly, it's not gonna leave until the new heaven comes down, if I'm being real. And I will not quench God's spirit concerning this matter or anything. But I do know about this stuff. And yeah, Satan's darkness will not leave the principalities of and him being the prince of the air, all that stuff. Excuse me. Yeah, all that stuff will not be diminished, meaning finished or over, until the God of Israel and prophecy just gets more and more fulfilled concerning the God of Israel and all that deep stuff. So, but yeah, even when Satan gets bound to the bottomless pit for 1,000 years, more or less, he will be released again and all that stuff to deceive more and more souls and people. And a lot of people will be receptive to him and the Antichrist. And speaking of all that too, yeah, the Antichrist is a part of Satan's darkness too. And see, the Antichrist is already at work. But see, you people want to accuse a particular being or somebody of being the Antichrist. And overall, the Antichrist is it's dealing with Satan, more or less. And it's dealing with his kingdom, and it's dealing with certain beings that he is using to raise an all-time high deception to take you away from the real Jesus and the truth of Jesus and overall just heaven. That's what the Antichrist is dealing with. And there's many more different things concerning the Antichrist, but more or less, this is just about Satan's darkness. And yeah, the Antichrist is a part of that too. And they are in effect and all that stuff. But you people get caught up with too much stuff when it comes to people and politicians and all that stuff. And see, this is the reason why the God of Israel is overall just like destroying many things and all the stuff, because you guys are not focused on him. You guys have no interest in him. You guys have interest in like just coming against people and coming against things and riots and all that stuff. And see, this is why the God of Israel overall, he is in control. I'm just gonna be very real. The God of Israel is. But see, he is utilizing certain things and using certain things concerning for prophecy purposes. I'm being very real because I know what's going on spiritually, humbly speaking. And yeah, and God is gonna deal with all these matters, you know. But overall, what I'm saying is, yeah, Satan's darkness, getting back to that, yeah, it will consume more and more of the earth. And see, I'm going to be very real. See, God's people, more or less, whatever, no matter what takes place concerning us on the surface, we will be, I want to say, shielded from Satan's darkness spiritually and just going into the spirit realm and going into heaven and all that stuff for God's chosen people. But everybody else, you will not be shielded from Satan's darkness. You will be consumed by it, and more deep stuff is going to be taking place concerning, you can say, the book of Revelations. Yeah, I have to say this. And also just a lot of other deep prophecies, biblical prophecies, will be more and more fulfilled, and more people and souls will just be going to hell. I'm being very real. Everybody who's not repented and truly honest about who they are, everybody who is a hypocrite, liars, murderers, habitual liars, snakes, all this stuff is a part of it. And speaking of all these things, that this is all a part of Satan's darkness, is what you got to realize. And all these people who are partakers of this stuff, they will have their place in hell and the lake of fire and many other dark places too. But I'm just being led by the Spirit. I will not quench his spirit concerning these matters or anything. But yeah, I mean, the stuff is very deep, and God's people will not be a part of Satan's darkness, regardless of what takes place on the surface. God's chosen people will not be a part of Satan's darkness. No. And people who God truly has interest in, as far as God's kingdom and who God wants to draw in. Everybody else, though, you will be a part of Satan's darkness. Every other individual and certain beings as well. You will be a part of Satan's darkness, and it will consume you, and you will perish. I'm being very real. But with all that being said, yeah, Satan's darkness.